Welcome back to Real Phonies, where we take a love for movies and television and combine it with very little knowledge about movies and television. I'm your host, Christian. Joined with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Joseph.
Yellow.
And Jehu. Here this week to talk about Jordan Peele's latest effort, Nope, starring Daniel Kaluuya, Keke Palmer, Keith David in a glorified cameo.
Yeah.
What's his
pretty
face?
much it. Stephen Yuen's in it. You're right.
Stephen Yuen. Yeah, I totally drew a blank on his name there for a second.
That guy from The Crow.
Yeah. I want to talk more about that guy. You threw me off track there, Hurt.
Right.
This film follows a family of ranchers, horse trainers, when they begin to receive disturbances from a mysterious guest on the farm. I don't know how to. I mean, it's a UFO. You've seen the trailer. It's a UFO.
You got like a very 80s trailer style thing going on with your description. I like it.
What do we think of this movie, y'all?
I'll go first. First of all, from the trailer, I wasn't 100% sure it was a UFO, but me and Sarah went to see it with some friends, and before we walked in, the conversations we had were about Art Bell era Coast to Coast, OJ, The Crow, and bounce houses and trampolines. And I feel like all those conversations kind of tied into this movie.
Unrelated to the actual information from the trailers of this movie?
Yeah, no, these were just things that came up organically, having nothing to do with we were going to see this movie.
That might be scarier than this movie.
I know. But yeah, I love this movie. I feel like this dude, as he makes each movie, is getting more confident. And I think with that confidence, that might alienate more people, because this one was weirder and less obvious than the previous one, just like it was than the one before it. But I enjoyed that.
I also I think kind of to your point, I don't know if I agree with that. I feel like it's more confident, but I also think that the subtext in Us comparatively to Get Out, or the allegory, was almost more important than the story, and that was to the detriment of the movie. Right. I do not feel like that was the case. I feel like Jordan Peele came in and just be like, I want to make just a horror movie, and I can also make some commentary on people's obsession with entertainment and fame.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you fellas. This movie fucking kicks. Jordan Peele, legitimately, he's just, every movie he makes so far, it's just a cut above. He just really has knocked it out of the park 3 times in a row. And I might like Us more than I like Get Out. And I don't know that I liked this one more than that, but I feel like I might watch this one more.
I 100% agree with that. Yeah. Immediately, as soon as we finished watching it, I was like, I could watch this movie again.
It's the scariest of his 3 movies, in my opinion.
Also true.
And what was really interesting to me about it is, number one, you could teach a freaking arts class, a theater class, a screenwriting class on this film. I don't know that the Chekhov's gun principle has ever been more applied to a film ever.
Yeah.
Every detail in this movie comes back. What's weirder too is he presents the problem Chekhov's gun principle, right? You see the result before you almost see the reasoning. So there's people with alien costumes earlier in the film, but there's a reason for that, but we get it later. It happens in reverse. And I don't know, it was just really smart in that regard. And 2, it's actually pretty funny. There's a string of gag jump scares that happen. It's 5 minutes long, just one right after another before actual jump scares happen. And it got me every time. And it was fucking hilarious that he just kept doing it. I don't know. It's really freaking good. Much better than Transformers, for sure.
For sure. I know you mentioned that while you were watching it, Christian, that you kind of felt like it was kind of like a slow burn, for the first bit of it, which is generally an issue that I have with horror movies. My issue is I'm not engaged enough with whatever the pretext story before the horror happens that I care. So I'm just waiting to get to the bit where people start getting murdered. But that was not the case with this one. I was super engaged the whole time. I loved all of this, just this odd little town and these odd little people. Like everything about Stephen Yuen and his little amusement park and history was fascinating to me. I was super into it, the whole thing.
Yeah. One other thing before we start getting into specifics, I also felt like I don't know. I felt like this guy had more fun making this one than the other two. Like he let a little bit more of his influence just come right through. You could see Tarantino, you could see Carpenter, you could see Lynch. There is one scene that makes no doubt what his favorite anime is. I enjoyed that. I had a blast in this movie.
Yeah, when we get into spoilers,
sure. I mean, we can. I do want to get into spoilers, but it's better than Transformers, and especially Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer are perfectly cast and perfectly performed in this movie. They're just outstanding.
Dude, I want to follow that up because I think Keke Palmer steals it. I think she's so good in this. But Daniel Kaluuya putting on the weight and finding the perfect trucker hat and the perfect placement on top of the head, not wearing it, but letting it sit on top of the head.
It is so important.
Perfect character study of what that role should be.
Yep. All of his clothes were exactly the clothes that dude would wear.
Yep.
Like, I don't know who made those decisions, but they were just so correct.
Anyway,
so spoilers.
Way better than Transformers. Spoilers.
Yeah. You know, you said this one is probably the one you would end up watching the most, and I agree with that. But there is one sequence in it I will never watch again in my entire fucking life. And that is the fucking monkey freakout.
100%. So
that shit was horrifying.
It's funny that you went to this because this is the first thing that I wanted to talk about also. It's very clear that Jordan Peele had the same traumatic, like, I don't even know if it's a memory because it's not something that I saw, but like when I learned about the whole story about the monkey that took the Xanax and like ripped the girl's face off and broke her arm, like that shit's trauma. I have never not thought about that. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit is fucking
constantly living in there.
It's always there, and apparently it's had the same effect on Jordan Peele because 100% what that shit was about.
I have a lot of intense phobias, and most of them are things that are a threat that could happen like right now. Yep. That's one of my phobias that there's no way I'll ever encounter in my life, but I'm ready for it.
100%. Monkeys scare the shit out of me. I hate them. They're fucking creepy. They're terrifyingly powerful. Just like that, not even just that scene, but that specific perspective from like young Stephen Yuen hiding under the table is like literally my absolute worst nightmare.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I was Joseph and I saw the movie together, and like immediately he was like, "Oh, fucking monkeys!" Like this,
because they start with it. I mean, you don't see the whole attack right off, but you know at that point, I'm going to see this attack at some point.
Yeah, you know it.
One thing I really appreciated about this film is that I really thought it was an interesting take on UFOs, making the spaceship the creature. Like I thought that was. One, it was just new and different and cool, but then so tied into the plot when you have these people who work with training animals all the time. Like again, I'm stupid. I am an idiot. And the dude's he's really fucking smart. It's a dumb thing to be smart about, but he's really fucking smart.
Well, it's just beautiful because it plays on your expectations without ever lying to you. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like the moment that you're talking about one of the first fake outs where it's, you know, we think it's like the aliens in the barn. It's like, oh yeah, that's 100% what we think this fucking movie is, because of course it's what it's going to be about. And so for it to just be, you know, just totally different than our like that's not his fault. He didn't steer us any particular way. That's just, you know, our I don't know if our film knowledge, culture knowledge coming in and being weaponized against us.
You know, did you guys feel like maybe this time he's making a little bid for Oscar Town?
I felt less about that one with this.
Yeah, I agreed.
See, well, I just think because, you know, the Oscars love movies about Hollywood and about movies.
Touche.
This really, you know, is about that. And, you know, that second sequence where he has the horse at the commercial, it just paints all those Hollywood people as being the worst fucking people on earth. And for some reason, Hollywood people love that shit. They just eat that shit up. I will say from that sequence also, you guys probably are not as familiar with this actress, but Donna Mills from the 80s nightly soap opera Knots Landing was there. And man, her face Like, she did not look one bit different than she looked in 1989. You look, even a half an inch below the chin, and then you could see the years. But right on her face, like there is no special effect in any Marvel movie that I was impressed by as I was. They've kept Donna Mills' face back together. It was incredible.
I mean, I do think, to a point you made earlier, I think, Joseph, you said this about how us, like, the commentary of us, it probably plays more than what us is. And I think when we did the episode, like, we all came away with, like, different things too. Like, we were all like, oh no, this was the point of that movie. This one is, I think, much more direct. It certainly is, like, obsessive media entertainment culture. But I think, and I probably wanted more of that, but also on the flip side, after Us, where it was so heavy-handed, I was kind of thankful that this was just more like Jordan Peele and his element. I mean, making social commentary is his element, but that this felt more like a horror movie with a commentary, where that was a commentary film that happened to be a horror movie. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's exactly. I agree.
It just was. It felt like the right kind of follow-up, where it's in the same ballpark, but it feels different.
One of the things I also really liked about this is there was a few scenes where one of them would be looking at something and it wasn't clear whether they were looking at something scary or just a weird shape in the night. Mm-hmm. And if you've ever lived out in the boonies, that's just a really real feeling. Like when you guys talked about this scene earlier, but when he's, in the horse pens and he sees the outline of the what might be aliens, there's just a moment. It's like, are we seeing something here or is there nothing here? I really enjoyed that.
It is because it's so very accurate to like the human perception. Just like, is that just like a garbage can? Did I forget there's something over there earlier? And then it moves and you're like, oh fuck. Right.
I also really liked the way it's, just the entire way of them watching the UFO is shot. There's a scene at night when, I can't remember which horse it is. I think it's the second one. Yeah. But they really, when Daniel Kaluuya's character starts putting together what's going on, and he goes and hides in like the shed, and he's just watching it like through the cracks in the wood in the shed. Like that's incredible cinematography for not a dumb UFO movie, but it's a type of movie that people wouldn't put that kind of work or effort into.
Mm-hmm. Right. I was talking to someone yesterday about this movie and they're like, oh, I've seen Get Out. Is it like that? And I was like, well, it's not really. And then I wanted to say, it's really more like Jaws. But then I was like, that kind of takes away, that kind of is a minor spoiler for what this movie is about. So I did not say that. But one of the things that I feel like it does that's like Jaws is, for Jaws, it's just now the water is scary. Everywhere in the water is a place that the shark could come from. And now in this movie, you're just looking like there's so many shots of just sky and clouds. And not all of them have the fucking creature thing in it, but you're constantly looking for it. Like, well, it could be. Where the fuck is it?
It's funny. There was a movie you're reminding me of, and you saying that makes me think of the perfect way to explain this movie if you're not worried about spoiling it, which is it's a movie for the first 2/3 of it you think is Close Encounters of the Third Kind, but then it turns out to be Jaws.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much else to say. We're just gushing over it. And it's just really good. But I did want to talk about the crow guy. Antlers, I believe, is his name in the film.
Yeah. Right.
You guys remember? And listen, if this is insensitive, Joseph, cut it out. Whatever. But do you guys remember a few months ago when Sam Elliott got really mad about gay cowboys?
Yep. Yes.
This whole character feels like a direct rebuttal to that. He's like raspy voice, Marlboro man, super tough, willing to do anything to get the shot, super lean and cut, but also like wears a toga and makes a lemon tart for a house party. Like, and I fucking dug it. I wanted a whole movie about that guy.
Dude, let me tell you, when he does the fucking the lyrics to One-Eyed One-Horned Purple Predator,
so good
in fucking like Peter Weller voice, and just does the whole thing straight. That might be my favorite scene in any movie ever.
It's really outstanding.
If there was a subscription service where I could just hear that guy recite lyrics from like kitschy one-hit wonders from like the 50s and 60s, I'd sign up today.
It is so good.
Yeah.
And it goes on so long. And I loved it. I love that they committed to it.
Right. There's like 2 or 3 times where it's like, oh, okay, he said what he's going to say from this. No, he's still going. He's doing the whole thing. It was great.
That might be Jordan Peele's. I say it's a gift. I feel like it's a gift given by consuming a lot, like in a Tarantino-esque manner. But you can just tell he just loves this genre, and he just got such a good instinct for like what's gonna hit. Oh, exactly that kind of thing. Like how long to let things go, when to cut. There's a great bit that I didn't even think about till later. But there's the whole scary scene where after the that whole what do we call that fucking thing that Stephen Yuen ran amusement park? The whole amusement park got like sucked up into the creature, and it follows them back to the house in the rain, and then it like fucking unloads the detritus on the house. My favorite bit in retrospect that I didn't even like register during it is that like there's no scene where they like come out and they're like, oh shit, oh look at this, man, look, there's so much blood on the house, all like there's no characters like acknowledging it, but the fucking house stays like that the rest of the movie. Yeah, and we're just looking at that, doing that, and it's so much better that way. I think that's totally a good choice. Man,
there's a great moment in that bit too when Daniel Kaluuya goes to open the door and he closes it and he's just like, nope.
Yep.
Dude, like it just breaks it up at the perfect moment, because it's and again, you're talking about him, Jordan Peele having such a gift for this. Like there are long stretches of this movie that I think at the time you're like, it's all gas, no breaks.
Yeah.
But it's really not. They're short little breaks, but they're humor, they're placed right. The joke hits. And so it doesn't have to be like a 5 to 10 minute moment of reprieve. It's like a 30-second moment of reprieve, but it's just enough for you to relax enough for him to just then turn the knob right back up to 11.
It's absolutely paced perfectly. I do think it's funny. I watched the Hot Ones with Daniel Kaluuya this past week, and it's just so funny to me that dude, like, in Get Out and in this movie, are the characters that he is, because in person he seems like a super fucking chatty dude.
Right.
And he's just like so subtle and reserved in these movies, and he's so good at it. I mean, he's incredible at it. If you haven't seen the Hot Ones with him, it's really interesting. It's a dude who really obviously loves what he does.
Right.
But yeah, he's really, really good at it.
That dude wants to make a Barney the Dinosaur movie.
Does he really?
Really?
Yeah, he like bought the rights to Barney the Dinosaur and it's like executive producing it.
I'm super into that.
Yeah, I fucking love that factoid.
Well, speaking of factoids, apparently at some point, I don't remember if this was something that we even talked about on this podcast, but Jordan Peele was offered to make the Akira movie and didn't, and he still probably won't, but he got his shot.
Boy, did he. That motorcycle slide is just like, there's no question what that is.
No, it's not supposed to be questioned.
Yeah. That leads to, you talked about Chekhov's gun. Like, who would have thought that weird photo well would be the big Chekhov's gun of this movie? That was such like just a throwaway detail in the first third of this movie that turns out to be like the clincher. That was pretty great.
Yeah, and he does it. I mean, I can't remember them all right now, but there are several in this movie where it's just like a minor little detail, the neighbor's kids wearing alien suits where you're like, well, maybe they've heard a story. This guy's kind of going crazy, setting up cameras, thinks there's but then it's like, no, these people are seeing the same alien and they're fucking obsessed with it. Like it just was, there is the camera, the alien suit, and there's a third one and I can't remember what it is, but it's so good.
The alien suit thing is so great too, because they act sort of ape-like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, it's very much what he processed of what scary aliens would be like, because, he had this horrible incident with the ape. I thought that was a good touch.
I also thought when the Best Buy guy, whose name I can't remember, was first like talking about what the theories of what the aliens would be, one of the options was like future humans coming back to save the earth or fix humanity or whatever. It was like, oh shit, is this going to be future monkeys saving monkeys from people?
Right.
It's a Planet of the Apes prequel.
Yeah.
Look, I wouldn't put it past Jordan Peele to do that shit.
Yeah, the Best Buy guy, we haven't even mentioned him. That guy was great too.
Yeah.
The scene where Crow guy walks off and he says to them, "Oh, he just said something cryptic and walked away." That just killed, man. Like there was only like maybe 15 people in my theater, but everybody laughed at that.
What I really loved about that character is his ability to insult everyone else in the room and then everyone just agree with it. Because I think he says something to him. He's like, "You're too weak to get the shot." And then he like turns around and walks away. And you're like, he just called you weak. He called you a bitch. And you're like, "Man, he just said something cryptic and walked off, bro. Like, it's fine." Yeah. I could probably watch this movie today. Like,
I could absolutely go watch this movie today.
Yeah. It's really good. Not everyone should see it. My wife would fucking hate it. But
how come?
She hates horror films in general. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't call this like, I wouldn't classify it as body horror.
I don't think so either.
But the people getting eaten by the monster and then the monster raining blood for 15 minutes, she would not handle that well.
I was going to say, it's not actually like, kind of exactly what you're talking about. Like, there is gore, I guess, in the sense that there's blood and stuff, but like you don't see it happen to people. But it's still psychologically taxing, I think.
Yeah, he does a really good job.
Little we see of people getting eaten by the UFO monster is such a great mix of horrifying and absolutely ridiculous.
Yes,
like it is really like disturbing when it's happening, but it's also so silly it doesn't really stick with you.
Yeah. I think the true scary part is the way he includes the screams. The fact that you can still hear the people as they're being eaten.
Right.
That's horrifying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, Nope. Way better than Transformers. Y'all should go see it.
Dear Jordan Peele, just keep making movies. I just want this guy to make a movie like every year.
I'd kind of like to see him do something besides horror. He's done 3 in the horror genre. I'd like to see something else.
Well, a follow-up question to that, Hurt, is he's done 3 very distinct horror films, right? Like Get Out. I don't even know how I would classify it, but I would say Get Out's kind of non-traditional, but Us is kind of a slasher film, sort of. These people are being hunted with a person with a knife. He's made it an alien film now. Like, what other subgenres of horror does he go for next? I mean, he kind of even does like a kaiju monster movie. Like we're talking about, this is kind of Jaws.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's zombies, but zombies are so played out at this point.
Fucking vampires.
Vampires would be good.
He could make a cool vampire film.
I agree, totally.
But yeah, I mean, I'd like to see him do something outside of this genre. I mean, I know it's dumb, but I would die to see Jordan Peele's Superman movie.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I mean,
the thing is, this guy is really into subtext and metaphor, and that's something that's almost completely lacking from superhero.
No doubt.
I know that Zack Snyder thinks his movies are full of them, but they're full of something.
Yeah. I mean, look, I agree with you guys. I think one of the things that shows in all of his movies is that, again, he just really fucking loves movies, and I just wanted to make stuff that he just really seems to enjoy. So whatever that strikes him next, I'm here for it.
Hopefully it comes soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
Definitely.
Anyway, that's Nope. What have we been watching the past week, guys? Look at us. We're back on a schedule.
I want to sacrifice my time for what we've been watching and ask, what the fuck is happening to Warner Brothers?
I was going to do the same thing. Yeah, no, totally. What the fuck is going on with Warner Brothers? It's a goddamn shit show.
How does it only get worse?
I don't know.
It's so weird because I feel like when HBO Max first started rolling around, I think we were all just like, this doesn't seem like it's sustainable. You've lumped a lot of things together. HBO doesn't necessarily have the best track record for super great interfaces with their users. It's this seems like it's just mounting to be a train wreck. And then for the past 2 years, it's been one of the most stable, content rich variety of content platforms out there. I watch a lot of shit on HBO Max.
I mean, it's easily become my favorite streaming service. And now I think they're trying to turn it back into HBO Go. And I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah, that's what's so weird about all of this is Well, I mean, I say it's weird. There's an explanation, but it's very much feels like we're rewinding the clock back to 2009, 2010. Like when streaming services are really starting to get their footing and take off and trying to figure out what they are. Well, it's almost viewed as just an alternative to cable. Not that it is its own network or its own studio, really. But I guess that's what happens when you put a guy who's only ever produced reality television in charge.
Well, I guess we should say we haven't actually said what the news is because we assume everybody's just as geeky as us.
That's a great point.
But they this week they canceled a Batgirl movie that was 70% done.
All the way filmed.
Right. Filmed. It was ready for test screenings. It had J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon. It had Michael fucking Keaton as Batman. And they just scrapped it. Not like, oh, it's not going to get a theatrical release. It's going to go to HBO Max. It's never going to see the light of day, until somebody leaks it. But it's just baffling. And I would like to say it's more baffling than the decisions that Warner Brothers has made up to now. But they've just been making baffling decisions for so long. I just don't know what's going on with them.
I don't know the status of how financially solvent Warner Brothers is as a company. Obviously, it just got bought out by Discovery, but I it's hard to see an outcome where no matter what they're saying, that Warner Brothers isn't divided into multiple divisions and eventually sold off. I mean, each one by one. Like this feels like maybe not the final nail in the coffin, but we're putting the walls together,
Right. God, it's just... First of all, it's just so bizarre they picked this one and not The Flash.
Yeah.
Like, why?
They're determined to get this Flash movie out.
But why? I
know it. Because Ezra Miller deserves it.
I mean, he's probably the most toxic man in Hollywood currently.
Which is a highly competitive position.
I'm not saying the rankings couldn't change at any second. But right now, I think he's the top dog. I'm just baffled by, it's funny. I went and saw Nope last night at the Breeze. And I was thinking back because the last movie I saw at the Breeze was Superman Returns. And
wow.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And I just feel like Warner Brothers, like you can trace back their problems even back to that. If you think about Batman Begins and then Superman Returns, like from that point, they were a company that just did not have a direction for these properties that they have. They took Batman Begins was, a revamp. But hey, let's start from square one, reintroduce these things to people. And, Superman Returns is almost the opposite of that. It's a reboot that's also a sequel, which actually, these days kind of worked, but it did not work then. And it just seems like since then, they've just like, every time they find something that works, the next thing they do is something that doesn't. And they just need someone with a direction.
Yeah. We're talking all this. It's not just scrapping Batgirl. They scrapped a Scoob sequel that it cost $40 million. So now you're $130 million in the hole on projects you refuse to release. They're disbanding HBO Max and absorbing it into Discovery, where it will have no original content. All the original content will go back to the premium cable service because everyone's dying to have fucking cable again.
Right.
And all of these opinions are based on a graphic where they've lumped things into things men are interested in and things women are interested in.
I think also, I often, you guys know, bring things back to wrestling. But, in the early 2000s, at the end of the Monday Night War, WWF was so on fire. It was so good. It was so fun to watch. And WCW had become unwatchable. And when it got to the point where WWF absorbed WCW, everybody thought that was going to be great. Everybody thought that was going to be good for the industry. And it turned out to be awful. Not having competition turns out to not be a good thing, even if it's bad competition. And I worry about a world where Disney owns everything, because I could very easily see this being the first step to Disney owns Superman and Disney owns Batman. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's a good thing.
Yeah. I don't think it is, but
I mean, to be fair, it's obviously not a good thing that Warner Brothers owns Superman right
that's
now.
a good point. Yeah.
That is a good point too. Yeah, I'm not saying this is a good situation. I just don't know. I don't know what the good outcome to this is. I just know for some reason we're going to get to see the Flash no matter what.
Joseph, what have you been watching?
Did you have anything else?
No, because that's what I was going to talk about too. So
okay, fair enough. I don't have too much. They started dropping the third season of Harley Quinn on HBO Max for as long as any of that shit is around.
Right.
And that show is just so much better than it has any right to be. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, Harley Quinn as a character took on a life of her own after Batman the Animated Series, has gotten a big cultural push, since then, blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of incredible. The character itself has gotten this popular, but to take kind of the very bare bones of what was a character there and turn it into both one of the best superhero shows and superhero pastiche shows. It's really good. Again, I described it the first season, or it's 2 seasons, as Deadpool but not toxic, and I stand by that. I don't know how they do it, because it's it does stand by kind of the irreverent, violent, cursing kind of stuff, but it does it in a way that still has a lot of heart, and is not it pokes fun at a lot of the established superhero tropes and some of the goofiness of the DC universe and the Batman villains and characters, but it also very clearly likes them a lot, and that comes through a lot. It's really good. I don't understand how they made it as good as it is, but if you haven't watched it, it's on HBO Max for at least a little bit longer. I recommend it.
Right. You saying that did make me mention one thing I was just going to talk a little about, and I'll talk more about next week. In our last podcast, I was very worried about the Sandman show on Netflix, but I watched the first 2 episodes, and it's good. It's not as good as I want it to be, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. And I think it's worth a watch if you haven't seen it.
Fair enough. Do we know what we want to do next week?
No idea.
Well, next week we'll be coming back with something. Maybe more on HBO Max, maybe The Gray Man, maybe who fucking knows, something.
Yeah, I was about to say, if there's anything we want to cover on HBO Max, we should probably
now is the goddamn time. No kidding.
Right.
Well, thanks everybody for listening. Please rate, subscribe, tell your friends about the podcast. Go see Nope if you haven't seen it already. It's really good. I think it's more fun in a theater.
Right on.
Please rate, subscribe, tell your friends. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Real Phonies, and on Instagram at Real_Phonies. Thanks to Zach Evans for art and Brian Valesky for our theme. We'll see you guys later.
Later.